Before Blackbeard became the terror of the Atlantic, he may have been just another Bristol sailor, walking the old harbour streets and drinking in dockside taverns. And on King Street, one pub still carries his shadow. The Llandoger Trow has stood since the 17th century, gathering stories of pirates, sailors, writers and ghosts. But whether Edward Teach truly drank there or not, one thing is certain. Bristol was exactly the kind of city that could turn a man into a legend.
It's madness in Michigan as NASCAR on Prime heads to Michigan International Speedway. 200 miles per hour feels even faster than it sounds. These white-knuckled three-wide thrills bring us one of the fastest tracks in the Cup Series. Strap in and stream Michigan today at 2 p.m. Eastern. NASCAR, it's on Prime. Not a Prime member? Not a problem. Simply sign up for a 30-day free trial. Restrictions apply. See Amazon.com/Amazon Prime for details.
Dedication isn't born in the light of day. It's carved in the quiet hours before the world blinks awake. At Boar's Head, we rise with a mission to deliver craftsmanship worthy of your table. A slice of something special folded into every moment worth savoring. Because dedication means delivering only the very best. Boar's Head, committed to craft since 1905.
When you're craving something extra delicious, extra saucy, and extra, there's Applebee's All You Can Eat. An unlimited spread of flavorful favorites for just $15.99. You get all the tender signature riblets, all the crispy boneless wings, all the golden brown double crunch shrimp, and endless classic fries. All at a price that hits just right. Applebee's All You Can Eat for just $15.99 per person per order. Now that's eating good in the neighborhood. Limited time only, so hurry into your nearest Applebee's today.
I like things my way. My coffee, my schedule, and my treatment. So I talked to my doctor about self-injecting with the Vyvgart Hytrulo pre-filled syringe, which contains efgartigimod alpha and hyaluronidase QVFC. It's injected under your skin, subcutaneously. It means I can inject in my space, on my time. It's my treatment, my way. Visit VyvGartMyWay.com. That's VYVGART MyWay.com. And talk to your doctor about Vyvgart Hytrulo. Brought to you by Argenix.
There's never been a better time to get outside and experience the benefits of nature. Discover nearby trails and explore the outdoors with All Trails. Download the free app today and find your outside.
Hello, I'm Sarah.
Hello, I'm Toby.
And welcome to the Whispering Woods Haunted episode. In this episode, we are going to...
Bristol.
We are. It's quite a long haunted episode, this one, and we're in Bristol, where we're from. Yeah. And it's about the Llandoger Trow. Do you know what that is?
No.
It's a pub. Really, really old pub in Bristol. And it's got connections to Blackbeard himself.
Yeah.
So we're going on a bit of a history lesson about Blackbeard, and then just a little bit about the Llandoger Trow. I'll get straight into it. Are you ready for the story?
Yes, I am.
In the late 17th century, Bristol was one of England's great maritime cities. The River Avon carried ships in from the Severn and out again towards Ireland, Wales, the Atlantic, the Caribbean and the American colonies. It was a city where the sea was not distant or romantic. It was employment, hunger, wealth, danger, and sometimes disappearance. The boy born here around 1680 would have grown up in a place where the horizon was always calling. And if that boy was Edward Teach or Thatch, or whatever name he was born with before legend swallowed him, then he was born into a city already shaped by empire, trade, privateering, and the brutal economics of the Atlantic world. Royal Museums Greenwich notes that very little is known about Blackbeard's early life, but he is widely believed to have been born in or around Bristol, around 1680, and even his surname appears in different forms in the record. This was a city built on shipping. Men left from here as sailors, servants, traders, privateers and labourers. Some returned, some did not. Some changed their names, some crossed into worlds where official records became thin, and reputation mattered more than parish registers. Bristol was also tied to darker voyages. Its maritime wealth was deeply connected to Atlantic trade, including the transatlantic slave trade. This does not mean every Bristol sailor was part of that trade, or that Blackbeard's early life can be neatly attached to one route. But it does mean that a young seaman from Bristol would have known a world where ships carried sugar, tobacco, rum, enslaved people, indentured servants, weapons, money, and rumours. The Atlantic was not just water, it was a machine, and Bristol fed it. The old port was crowded with people who knew how quickly law could become flexible once land fell behind you. A sailor might serve 1 year on a merchant ship, another on a privateer, another on a vessel whose business depended on not asking too many questions. War made some of this legal. Peace made the same skills criminal. This is the world Edward Teach likely came from. A working, maritime world. A city where boys learned early that the sea could lift a man out of poverty, grind him into nothing, or turn him into something feared. And down near the old docks on King Street stood a building that would later become tangled in the Blackbeard legend, the Llandoger Trow. The pub dates to 1664 and stands between Welshback and Queen Charlotte Street, close to Bristol's old city docks. Historic summaries describe it as a timber-framed building that was originally a row of 3 houses, later damaged during the Second World War, with 3 of its original 5 projected gables surviving. Its name comes from the flat-bottomed Trow boats associated with Llandoger in Wales, vessels that once traded with Bristol. The Llandoger Trow was not built later to cash in on pirates. It was already there when Blackbeard was supposedly a Bristol boy. It stood in the right place, in the right city, at the right time, among sailors, river traffic, and waterfront trade. Whether Edward Teach actually drank there is another question. The tradition says he did. Bristol tourist histories still claim him as a Bristol-born pirate, and the Llandoger has long been tied to tales of pirates, seafarers, Daniel Defoe, Alexandra Selkirk, and Robert Louis Stevenson's Treasure Island. If Edward Teach did come from Bristol, then he came from a city where the sea was already waiting for him. Not as adventure, necessarily, as work. The trouble with Blackbeard is that the man beneath the name is strangely hard to see. His early life is almost all absence. He's generally believed to have been born around 1680, often said to have come from Bristol, but he only emerges clearly in the records later, when he is already moving through the violent maritime world that would make him infamous. Blackbeard did not begin as Blackbeard. He began as a sailor. Most likely he learned his trade before he became famous, perhaps as a privateer during Queen Anne's War, which was the British name for the War of the Spanish Succession in the American theatre. Britannica says he is thought to have been active as a British privateer during that war, and only emerges clearly as a pirate near the end of 1716. A privateer was not exactly a pirate, though. The difference could be thin enough to vanish in poor weather. A privateer carried a commission, legal permission to attack enemy shipping during wartime. It was violence with paperwork. The men involved learned the same skills pirates needed: boarding, intimidation, weapons, navigation, and discipline and survival among men who were often desperate, brutal, or both. Then the war ended. And when war ended, so did much of the legal work for men who'd spent years taking ships. This is one of the roots of the golden age of piracy. It was not only romance or rebellion, it was unemployment. It was trained seamen with violent skills, Atlantic experience, and very little waiting for them on shore. For some, the line between privateering and piracy was not a moral cliff edge. It was a change in paperwork. Edward Teach appears out of that world. By 1716, he was in the Caribbean, associated with Benjamin Hornigold, one of the most important pirates operating out of New Providence in the Bahamas. New Providence was, for a time, a kind of pirate refuge, a loose, dangerous place where crews gathered, traded, repaired, drank, argued, and prepared to sail again. It wasn't glamorous. It was lawless, opportunistic, and unstable. And this is where Edward Teach becomes visible. And what is striking is how quickly he becomes something larger than an ordinary pirate captain. He understood fear. That may have been his real genius. Blackbeard's violence was real, but his image did some of the work before violence was necessary. The long black beard, the heavy weapons, the slow-burning fuses tucked under his hat or tied into his beard, giving him the appearance of something emerging from smoke and fire. He turned himself into a walking omen. The image has been repeated so many times that it almost feels theatrical now. But in the early 18th century, on a dark deck with cannon smoke in the air, it would have been horrifying. Blackbeard did not need to kill everyone if he could make them believe he would. In November 1717, Teach captured a French ship called La Concorde. The vessel had been used in the transatlantic slave trade, and it became the ship that would carry his legend. He renamed it Queen Anne's Revenge. Royal Museums Greenwich says he equipped it with 40 guns and used it as his flagship, with a flotilla crewed by an estimated 300 men. This was not a children's pirate tale. It was the Atlantic world in its rawest form. War, slavery, profit, fear, trade, and violence, all moving across the same water. Blackbeard took that ship and made it his floating fortress. For a time, he was one of the most feared men in the Atlantic. His reign as the pirate people imagine was brief, burning hard and fast, between 1717 and 1718, but it left a mark far larger than its length. He was not an old sea king ruling for decades. He was a man who understood timing, terror, and opportunity, and who built a legend so powerful that 300 years later, we still speak his name as if he belongs half to history and half to folklore. Somewhere between Bristol and the Caribbean, Edward Teach became Blackbeard. And once he had created that figure, there was no easy way back. By the beginning of 1718, Blackbeard was no longer simply Edward Teach with a ship. He was a name. That was the part he understood better than almost anyone around him. Piracy depended on speed, weapons, and knowledge of the coast. But it also depended on reputation. A merchant captain who surrendered quickly might live. A captain who resisted might see his crew beaten, his cargo stripped, his vessel burned, and his body left as a warning to others. Blackbeard made sure that fear reached ships before he did. A man does not accidentally become a devil in the minds of his enemies. He builds the mask, and Blackbeard's mask was smoke, hair, fire, and silence. He seems to have known that terror could save ammunition. If a ship surrendered quickly, he could take what he wanted without wrecking the vessel, killing too many men, or damaging the cargo. This was piracy as theatre, but theatre with real cannon behind it. The role was exaggerated. The danger was not. With Queen Anne's Revenge, he became almost untouchable for a brief time. In May 1718, Blackbeard sailed to the coast of Charlestown, near Charleston, South Carolina, with Queen Anne's Revenge and several smaller vessels. There he did something bold, even by pirate standards. He blockaded the port. For around a week, ships attempting to enter or leave were seized. Crews and passengers were taken hostage. The South Carolina Encyclopedia says the blockade struck a great terror to the whole province of Carolina, and that Blackbeard held hostages, including councilman Samuel Wragg, while demanding a chest of medicine as ransom. That demand is strange. It's always made the Charleston blockade feel different from any ordinary raid. Not gold, not jewels, medicine. It suggests sickness among the crew, or disease aboard the fleet, or a practical desperation hiding behind all that theatrical menace. Blackbeard could terrify a province, seize ships, hold prominent men hostage, and bring a major port to a standstill, but he still needed medicine. The Devil of the Atlantic still had a crew with bodies that broke down. Once the medicine was delivered, the hostages were released. Blackbeard sailed north, his reputation larger than ever. But this is where the story begins to narrow. Soon after Charleston, Queen Anne's Revenge ran aground near Beaufort Inlet, North Carolina. Whether this was accident, incompetence, or part of a deliberate plan to reduce his crew and keep a larger share of the spoils has been debated. But the result was clear. Blackbeard lost his great flagship. The wreck believed to be Queen Anne's Revenge was discovered near Beaufort Inlet in 1996. After that, Blackbeard accepted a royal pardon for a time and settled near Bath, North Carolina. But men like Blackbeard do not easily return to quiet lives. He'd spent too long commanding fear, too long being obeyed, too long living beyond the ordinary reach of law. There were rumours of continued piracy, of deals, of corruption. In coastal Carolina, where inlets, creeks and islands offer hiding places, the line between respectable trade and piracy could blur, when the right people benefited. Blackbeard had lost the great ship, but not the instinct. And by late 1718, powerful men had decided that the legend needed to end. His final refuge was around Ocracoke, off the coast of North Carolina. Low islands, shifting channels, difficult waters. A good place for someone who knew the coast and wanted to disappear into it. But on November 22nd, 1718, Lieutenant Robert Maynard caught up with him. The battle at Ocracoke was close, brutal and bloody. Maynard's forces approached in small sloops, and Blackbeard, seeing what looked like a weakened enemy, ordered. But Maynard had hidden men below deck. When the pirates came aboard, the sailors surged up, and the fight collapsed into hand-to-hand violence. Tradition says Blackbeard was shot 5 times and slashed more than 20 times before he died. Another legend says that after his head was cut off and his body thrown into the water, a headless corpse swam around the ship before sinking. Maynard had Blackbeard's head cut off and hung from the bowsprit of the ship. The body was thrown into the water. The practical purpose was clear enough: proof, punishment, intimidation. But symbolically, it completed the transformation. Edward Teach, whoever he had once been, disappeared completely. Only Blackbeard remained. The severed head, the sunken ship, the smoke-filled beard, the drowned body circling the sloop, the pirate whose life was brief, but whose afterlife refused to end. And this is where the story turns back toward Bristol. Because far from Ocracoke, far from Charlestown, far from the Caribbean, there is a timbered old pub on King Street, the Llandoger Trow. A place older than Blackbeard's fame. A place that stood in the right city at the right time. A place of sailors, merchants, river traffic, gossip and drink. And whether Edward Teach truly sat inside those walls or not, the legend found a home there. Back in Bristol on King Street, the Llandoger Trow still stands close to the old harbour. It's that kind of building that looks as though it's been listening for centuries. Timber-framed, narrow, uneven, and old enough that the modern city seems to move around it, while it stays silent. Before the pub became tangled with pirates and ghosts, it belonged to the working river. The Llandoger Trow was named for trade, not legend. For boats carrying goods between Wales and Bristol. For men coming ashore from the water, drinking under low beams, and taking news from one port to another. So when people connect Blackbeard to the Llandoger Trow, they're not placing him in some decorative pirate-themed fantasy. They're placing him in exactly the sort of world that made him possible. Tradition says Edward Teach, later Blackbeard, drank there. That claim is widely repeated in Bristol's tourist history, though some research suggests he may have left Bristol for Jamaica as a child. So the honest version is this. We cannot prove Blackbeard drank at the Llandoger Trow, but we can say the legend belongs there. Picture the Llandoger in the late 17th or early 18th century. It's not polished or quaint, a living dockside tavern. Outside, the river smells of mud, tar, fish, wet wood and horse dung. Ships crowd the quays, men shout over cargo. Barrels roll across stone. Rope creaks under strain. Inside, the air is low and warm. Candles gutter. Ale spills. Pipes smoke. Deals are made quietly. Men come in from Wales, from Ireland, from the West Country, from the American colonies, from privateers, merchant vessels, and ships whose business might be best not asked about too closely. If a young Edward Teach ever sat there, he would not yet have been the devil-faced pirate of Ocracoke. He would have been one more seaman of many, and somewhere along the way, the sea turned him into something else. The Llandoger Trow has other literary ghosts attached to it too. It's often said to have helped inspire the Admiral Benbow Inn in Robert Louis Stevenson's Treasure Island. And it's also linked in tradition with Daniel Defoe, Alexander Selkirk, and the story behind Robinson Crusoe. Visit Bristol describes it as part of the city's dark tall landscape and repeats those literary associations. The pub is often described as one of Bristol's most haunted buildings. Stories attached to it include footsteps on the upper floors, ghostly presences, and the figure of a child sometimes described as a disabled boy, whose uneven steps can be heard above. Some accounts claim as many as 15 ghosts are connected to the building, and its haunted reputation has been repeated in the ghost hunt culture. But the strongest part of the haunting is not the number of ghosts said to walk there. It's the atmosphere of the building itself. An old pub near the docks, carrying stories of Blackbeard, Treasure Island, Robinson Crusoe, sailors, smugglers, and children's footsteps from empty rooms.
Summer's a gift. The gift of days that last a little longer. A brighter state of mind. So gift yourself a new Kia at the Kia Summer Sticker Sales Event. With specially tagged vehicles including the Sorrento, Sportage, Carnival, as well as the Niro Hybrid. All backed by a 10-year, 100,000-mile limited powertrain warranty. So the gift of summer can keep on giving for summers to come. Kia, movement that inspires.
Call 800-333-4KIA for details. Always drive safely. Event ends 7/6/26. See dealer for warranty details.
At Nature's Bounty, the belief is simple. You already have a brilliant body. Supplements just help support your journey. For over 50 years, Nature's Bounty has offered vitamins and supplements to help you eat, sleep, thrive, repeat. From magnesium glycinate for heart and muscle support to hair growth capsules for fuller, thicker hair. And probiotics with 20 billion live cultures for digestion. Nature's Bounty. It's in your nature to thrive. Learn more at naturesbounty.com. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Really interesting, this. Now, obviously, I knew about Blackbeard, but I didn't know all about the port and stuff like that. And it's just got some resemblance to what's going on in the world today.
Yeah.
With the Strait of Hormuz. You know?
Big word.
Yeah. I tried to say it with a bit of an accent. Don't know if it's the right accent, but, you know, I'm trying. But yeah, lots of, like, you can see why they became pirates. No jobs, no food, no money. To the sea it is for I. Arr.
Yeah, I'd be a pirate.
Yeah, me too. I'd be one of them women pirates. I don't know if there were any, but I'd be one.
I don't know.
Yeah, with a parrot on my shoulder. Saying obscenities to people that I don't like.
Yeah.
I'll be teaching it to swear. At those I don't like so much. Wouldn't you? Teach your parrot to swear.
Be able to say everything.
Yeah, I'd be saying all sorts, my parrot. I could tell thee. I can tell thee.
Well, that's the end of this episode. I hope you enjoyed and we'll catch up with you again soon.
We will indeed. We will catch you again tomorrow. Take care, everyone.
Goodbye.
We've been the trusted experts since 1960 because nobody knows tires better than we do. And with over 90 tire brands, we have an abundance of options in stock for your vehicle. Buy and drive today at discounttire.com. Let's get you taken care of.
If you're hearing this, you have been chosen. Chosen by Hangry Joe's Hot Chicken.
Welcome to your reprogramming. Relax and let the flavors wash over you. You are getting very, very hangry. Hangry for golden fried perfection. You are feeling warm all over. When you wake, you will understand a new reality of flavor. You will know Hangry Joe's. Welcome to our flock.
Hangry Joe's hot chicken and wings. If you know, you Joe.
The forecast. Sunshine, with a strong chance of My Mochi ice cream. My Mochi is premium ice cream wrapped in sweet, soft dough. It's creamy on the inside and chewy on the outside, and comes in joyfully chill flavors like strawberry, mango, and cookies and cream. Every box of My Mochi has 6 mochis, so it's fun to eat and easy to share all summer long. Grab a purple box of My Mochi ice cream today and taste the joy.
The stories told on the Whispering Woods are inspired by historical records, witness reports, and local folklore. While every effort is made to research and represent events accurately, some details, names, and locations may differ from official accounts or have been changed out of respect for those involved. These episodes are created for storytelling and entertainment purposes and should not be considered definitive fact or investigative journalism.